Welcome to the series. This is where we perform hands-on exercises using Google Gemini Pro API and Python. In this video, we will use the chat session, memory, and Python to build a chatbot using the Gemini Pro API. We will do the following: configure and create a model, generate a chat session with the chat history object, create a chat loop with exit clauses, and display the ongoing conversation. If you haven't watched the part 1 of this mini series, I strongly recommend you do so because that will give you a much better understanding of this video. That said, let's get started. All right, let's start coding. First, let's install the necessary library, which is in this case Google-Generative AI. All right, so now that installation is done, let's set up the API key and configure our model. This object GAI we're bringing in from Google.Generative AI, and here's my API key. And I just added this extra loop, as you saw before in the first part, just to show us which models we have available through this API. In this video, we're going to be using only Gemini Pro. Now let's focus on Gemini Pro chatbot with memory. Okay, so I'm just importing time here because we're going to need, as you'll see very soon. And then we will follow these 3 steps: initiate the model, generate a chat session, and then create an infinite loop for our ongoing chat. So let's bring in the model. Okay, so we are using the same object that we created before, GAI dot generative model, and passing Gemini Pro. And let's see everything is all right, and it is. So now we initialized our model. Now let's create the chat session. Okay, so we take the model and dot start underscore chat, and we pass our history argument, which will be used as the memory of this whole chat session. And we are sending a Python list as a value, empty list. This will be filled up as we continue with our conversation. And you can find this in much more detail in the part 1 of this series. That being done, let's run it and see everything is okay, and it is. Now let's start building our loop. Okay, so it's a while true loop, which is basically an infinite loop. Here we're first using our prompt as an input variable, and we're going to ask user to insert something. And next, we're going to implement a exit clause, and we're putting it in a prompt.lower so that whatever the user, basically what case, the uppercase or lowercase, doesn't matter. If the user inserts exit, quit, or buy, then we will get out of the loop. Otherwise, we are not. We're going to keep going with it. So let's bring in our chat messaging. And this is where we're going to be sending our messages using chat.sendMessage and the prompt, whatever we collect from the user. And next, here we're going to go ahead and collect the last message that AI sent us and display it on screen. This is also a part that was explained in much more detail in the first part of the video. So from the chat history object, we're going to collect the last item, dot role, and capitalize it so that the user or model, those words come capitalized. And then we separate the text by using chat.history -1, the last one, parts 0, the first item, and dot text. And then we're going to separate them with a new line and a whole bunch of equal sign 100 times, and then put another new line so that the next one can get started. And in the end, we'll have our else clause, which means if the user does type exit, quit, or buy, this logic will fail and else will take over, and we're going to print exiting, and then time.sleep will invoke like 2 seconds delay and print see ya and break out of the loop, thus ending our ongoing conversation or chat session. So now let's go over the whole thing again: importing time, initiating the model, generating a chat session with an empty history object, and then creating an infinite loop, asking the user for a prompt or a question or whatever, and then inserting an exit clause then create the response object by sending the prompt message, and at the end, displaying the AI message with good formatting and have an else clause there so that in case the user inserts exit, quit, or buy, we'll exit out. That being done, let's run it. All right here, we can enter our first prompt. Okay, so let's ask, what is the distance to the moon from the Earth in kilometers? Hit enter. There you go, the exact answer. And next prompt, how about in miles? Notice that we're not mentioning any details about moon, Earth, or anything, right? So we're going to test the memory. Oh, exact same thing, converted into miles. Let's ask another question. How about the distance from the sun in kilometers? All right, now it wrote up a whole book because that distance is a variable, so it could change, blah, 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 but it did answer in kilometer. And now let's ask a follow-up. How long light takes to travel this distance? Once again, I'm not mentioning what distance or any detail, right? Enter. And there you have it, 8 minutes and 19 seconds to travel from the sun to the Earth. It remembered everything and gave us a detailed answer. Now we say exit, exiting. That ends our chat session from our chatbot that we just created. And that concludes this video where we built a chat system or a chatbot using Google Gemini Pro and Python. Thanks for watching.